Hey there, welcome to the Pursuit Podcast. I'm your host, Shayna Recker, and today I want to talk about making a declaration in your business. This is something that I have done recently, and I actually wrote the declaration and was so committed to what I wrote that I shared it publicly to help create that commitment to the declaration. So I'm going to share that declaration with you here on this podcast, but I also want to talk about what it means to make this kind of a declaration and, how to really stay committed to the things that we want in our life and in our business. So I can't wait to dive into it. I'm going to share with you what has been happening with me and why I wrote this declaration, and let's just really just dive into it. Now, before I get into all of this, there's a few things that I want you guys to know about that are happening in my world right now, and they are time sensitive. So the first thing is the Client Attractor, which is my program that helps new online coaches and course creators and service providers create and launch their first program and their business essentially with my easy to follow 3-phase system. That is open for enrollment. And with that program, you also get 12 weeks of group coaching with me. And I love the conversations I have with the new coaches inside this program. They are, crushing their goals. They are moving past their fears. They are doing things that I know they wouldn't be doing if they didn't have the support and the community of the Client Attractors. So that's currently open for enrollment if you have been wanting to start a coaching business, or maybe you've started your coaching business, but you feel like you just don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to attract in the clients. I highly recommend you check out the Client Attractor. You can DM me on Instagram, or you can go to shaynarecker.com/Client Attractor. It's on my website. You can't miss it when you come into my world. So that's open for enrollment right now. And then at the end of October, we are doing our second round of Identity. And Identity is a 3-week workshop where I teach you how to do your own graphic design for your online business. So things like how to create a brand, how to create your logo, how to use things like Canva to be able to create documents and even websites and sales pages for your business, and to understand the small little nuances that can make or break your design work. Professional design is not, it has a huge impact on how people receive you and your business. And if your design work is too confusing, too messy, too many things, there's a lot of little things that if you don't do it right, it can really shift the way that people think about you and your business. And so inside Identity, I teach you how to design in a way that is professional, that just leaves you looking good, really, at the end of the day. So that starts at the end of October. And if you want to learn more about that, you can drop the word identity into my messages on Instagram, and I will send you all the information and the links. We get started October 27th for that. So that's a little bit about what's happening in my world. Now let's get into talking about this declaration that I have made, and let's talk about declarations in general. So first of all, a declaration is basically when you declare that this is something you are going to do, or declare that this is something that is going to change in your life, or just you're making a declaration that this is now my truth. And for me, what has happened in the last few months is I've had a lot of deep realizations about the things that have been holding me back personally in my business. I've been very fortunate to have been able to build a 6-figure coaching business fairly quickly into my journey and maintain that 6-figure business for the last 6 years. Now, that's great. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm grateful for all of that. However, that is not my goal. My goal is not to stop at 6 figures. However, that 6-figure mark has been where I've just stayed. I've hovered around that space. And it's frustrating as somebody who wants to create a 7-figure business. When you're stuck at 6 figures, it's frustrating. And for the longest time, when I first started my business, I was always like, well, it's the strategy. I need this strategy. I need that strategy. I need to, you implement this funnel or do this thing. And the strategies only get you so far. They really only get you so far. And then I've always done mindset work. Even as a network marketer, we do a lot of mindset work, but I've done surface level mindset work. Let's just put it that way, where your positive affirmations, you're doing vision boards, you're like those kinds of things. But in the last, I would say 6 months or so, I've done some really deep inner work. And I've talked about this before with shadow work and stuff. I did a podcast on it. You can check that out. If you just type in the word shadow work or search shadow work in the Pursuit podcast, you'll find it. But recently it's been more like taking a deep dive inward as to how I have been holding myself back in my online coaching business. Now, part of this came through my whole ADHD journey as well. Like understanding that I had ADHD and understanding what ADHD was and how it was affecting my life and business. That process also helped to highlight some of the areas in my life where I was, my own problem, basically, because of the way that I was thinking, the way that my brain worked, my reaction sensitivity. There was a lot of things that I connected the dots to where I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that way of thinking or that way of being was connected to my ADHD. And so it's like when you gain an awareness around something, you can't unsee that. It's like when you shine the light on something that's in a dark room and it's there, like you can't unsee it, it's there. And now the beautiful thing about that is that once you see it, you now have the ability to clear it or deal with it. And so there were things that were happening in my business that I didn't see before because I didn't know. I just didn't know they were there. I just didn't know that it was because of me. It was always like circumstantial. I always thought like, oh, well, this is happening because of this or something external from me. It's like, oh, well, there's this people don't do that anymore. And so that's why people aren't signing up or, it's harder to get this or X, Y, and Z, insert excuse here, right? Like we've all done it. And what I know to be true is that the results that you're receiving in your life and in your business are a direct reflection of what's going on inside of you. And when you take radical responsibility, extreme ownership of that fact, then you can start to look at what's happening in your life and in your business and go, oh shit, like that's because of me. Like everything that's happening in your world is because of you. It all stems back to you. And I know that sometimes can be hard like a hard pill to swallow, but our world is a reflection of us, of what's going on inside of us, of our thoughts, our feelings, our energy. And so when I look at my business and take extreme ownership and responsibility for the things that are going on in my business, I was able to really clearly see where I was the problem, where I was the thing that was holding myself back. And once I could really look at those things and really feel and see how much they were impacting my growth in a not great way, then I could do something about them. So as much as it's hard to see these things that are happening in your life and in your business, it's hard to look at them. It's hard to know like, oh, I'm not getting results in that area because as in a personal example, I'm not getting results in creating momentum in this area because I keep changing it. I keep not getting the result that I want and thinking that there's something wrong with what I'm doing. And so I change it and I change it again and I change it again. Well, how can you create momentum on something when you keep changing it? So I realized that a lot of the areas that I wanted to see growth in, that I wasn't seeing the growth in, was not because what I was doing was wrong or what I was doing wasn't working. It was because I wasn't giving it enough time. I was changing it. I was like, oh, this isn't working. Forget it. Let's do something different. Oh, this isn't working. Forget it. Let's do something different. And that has had a massive impact. Now, part of that is just my lack of awareness around how much things need to compound before they'll start to really take off. Part of it is my ADHD, rejection sensitivity, dysphoria is a thing, and we can take negative results really like deeply and kind of spiral on those things. And I believe that that's some of the things that I had been doing in my business. And so I took things a lot harder than, let's say, the average person, which is why I would quickly change things because I would be frustrated versus giving it enough time. So there's been a lot of things that kind of led to these awarenesses that where I was like, holy shit, the thing that's holding me back is all me. It always has been, it always will be. And I needed to take ownership of that. I needed to have a massive amount of awareness on that so that I could change it. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee really quick. So this past couple of weeks, I've been doing some inner work around some of the things that I have seen that are holding me back. And here's a few things. So my lack, much like I've just talked about, my lack of commitment when things get hard. Like, you guys, building an online business is not easy. Like, if you listen to my Are You Ready for Starting Your Own Business? It was my last podcast, episode 194, I think it is. I talk about some of the things that we have to grow through as new entrepreneurs, and it ain't easy. It's not easy to build an online business. There's a lot of shit that you've got to go through and you've got to evolve into, and you've got to do hard things and get out of your comfort zone and all that stuff. And what I realized is that my commitment level to my business was completely dependent upon what other people did. I'm going to say that again. I realized that my commitment level to my business hinged on what other people did. So if other people were buying and joining, I was like flying high and I was committed and I'm doing this and I'm all in. When they weren't doing it, I was like, fuck, this isn't working. Like, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? Is this like, am I even supposed to be doing this? I was quitting on myself silently in my own head. I wasn't doing it out loud. I wasn't doing it physically, but inside I was quitting on myself because I didn't get the results that I wanted. But when you're committed to something, you're committed, whether the results are happening or not. So that was one of the big things that I noticed for myself. And I'm still working on that one. Like, you guys don't realize how much as a society, we depend on external validation for our worth. And that is not where our worth comes from. It comes from us. It comes from inside. And if you are waiting for every like and every comment and every person who joins your thing to start to feel worthy and good about yourself, you've got it backwards. That's a very difficult way to build a business, trust me. And I was absolutely in that space. I also realized my lack of boundaries, which was a huge disrespect for myself. A lack of boundaries. I was, letting call times go 1.5 hours when they were only supposed to be 1 hour, letting clients, move calls left and right and center, and all of these things that, I love my clients. I love my clients, and I will do anything in my heart for them. However, I also need to stand firm with the boundaries that I have set for myself and my business. Because if I let my boundaries slide for anybody, even my clients, then I'm telling them it's okay to let their boundaries slide. And that's not cool. I want my clients to create boundaries. I want them to stand firm on their boundaries. And how can they do that when I'm showing an example of breaking my boundaries? So I realized that my boundaries had been so loose, and that was depleting me as a coach. Like, it was depleting my energy. And that's not good for me. And that's a huge disrespect for myself and my family, because I'm not holding tight to my boundaries. And it's hard as hell to stand firm on a boundary when you have to say to a client, hey, it's our hour is up. I wish we could continue this conversation, but I do need to cut the call off. Like, that's not an easy thing to do because we love our clients. But what's even harder is feeling frustrated because now you don't have as much time to get prepared for your next thing, and you start to get resentful. And that's even harder. So I realized I had a big lack of boundaries, not just with clients, but in other areas for myself, where I was, skipping workouts, skipping meditation, skipping self-care because I didn't feel like I had enough time, or something else was more important. And it was like, no, this is a boundary. Every day I need to take time for me, whether that's a walk, a meditation, getting down on my Peloton, whatever it is, but there has to be time daily for me to fill my own cup. And then the third thing I wrote in my post, in my declaration post about how I could see myself, getting in my own way, was my sheer refusal. This is what I wrote: my sheer refusal to fully step into the powerful human I know I am. And I know if you're listening to this, because as humans, this is part of human nature, is that you feel in your soul you're meant for more. You're meant for more, whether it's maybe you're working a 9-to-5 job and you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and you're meant for that, but maybe you haven't taken the step yet. Or maybe you already are an entrepreneur and you've built a nice business for yourself, but you're like, this is okay, but this is great and I'm grateful for what I have, but fuck, I know that there is more for me out there. I want to make more money. I want to have more choice. I want to be able to give more. I want more. I want to be more. I want to do more. I want to have more. And you know that there's another level for you. I know that for me. I know that for me, and I even fucking know what it is. So that's even worse, because I'm like, I know there's another level for me to teach. There's another level for me to show up and give for my clients and for the people that I work with. It's not just the how-to business coaching. That stuff is great. I love doing that. I can do that all day long. But there's another level for me to teach at, and it is this emotional intelligence, mindset, movement, like growth space that I love talking about, and I love reading about, and I love learning about. But I have not allowed myself to step into that space because I tell myself I'm not good enough. I tell myself I'm not ready. I tell myself I haven't created the financial results yet, so how can I teach this? How many of you guys have said that? I can't go here yet because I haven't accomplished this. And that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. The way you get better at that thing is by doing it, is by showing up and being in that space. So for me to create a next level of mentorship in my business, I need to start being the person who has that mentorship in my business. And that's why I created Expand. Expand is a mastermind that I'm doing. It's a 30-day mastermind where I am going to talk about these big topics, to lead in the coaching industry, to talk about emotional intelligence, to talk about wealth, to talk about stepping into and being that next level human. I'm going to have these conversations, and those who join me inside that container are going to be able to witness my own expansion as I teach and talk about these topics and mentor and have conversations with you on these topics. If you want to know more about that, just drop the word expand into my DMs on Instagram, and I'm happy to share that with you. I'm starting it when I have at least probably 5 women ready to go. I'm not even putting a date on it, but I know I'm doing it. I'm doing it because that's what my soul wants me to do. And I have been refusing to go into that space because I felt like I was not good enough, because I didn't create X result. 6 figures a year. That's not enough to be able to teach that. I need to be a millionaire before I can teach that. That's fucking bullshit is what that is. You have to do it when you're ready, when you're feeling that call, when you're feeling the pull. And so realizing that these things were things that were holding me back in my business are the reasons that I wanted to create this declaration for myself. I actually wrote this for myself first. And after writing it, I was like, I need to share this publicly. Because if I share this publicly, there's a higher level of accountability to me stepping into this person. And not even accountability like, okay, if I post this, now I have to do it because people have seen it. It's more like, I've posted this. So from an energetic space, I've put this out into the universe. People can see this. They know that this exists. The universe knows this exists. So now I'm bound to this. Is like an energetic contract that I'm doing this. And just even in the posting of it shifted something for me. The next morning I started, the way I posted changed, the way I started talking changed. I revived my Facebook community. I was like, this is happening. And the energy around that community changed. Like, things have shifted. It's like I drew a line in the sand and I was like, no more. And so here's what I am declaring. And I put a date on this because one of the coaches that I work with, Stephanie Houston, she talked about how she made a similar kind of post and it was dated. And a year went by and that post came up in her memories and her business and life had changed dramatically in that time. And she was like, it was so nice to be able to see that post and go, this was the moment that everything changed for me. And that's what I want for myself. So here we go. So this is my declaration. So number one is I'm declaring that I am committed to fully step into my power and serve the world in the way I know in my heart that I'm meant to serve. So this means creating programs like Expand and stepping into that, even though it feels scary, even though I'm not 100% sure exactly how it's going to go. I'm committed to fully stepping into that. And that's how I'm going to get there, is by stepping into the unknown and figuring it out as I go. I've used all the excuses to avoid this and it's not happening anymore. It's time. So I will always have my coaching programs, my how-to programs for new online coaches and service providers, showing them, like the Client Attractor will always be there. And it will always be there to help give you the step-by-step instructions on how to build your business. And when you're ready, there's going to be higher level programs and things that you can tap into with me to help expand your energy and your businesses to the next level. Because I'm not just going to stop at here's how you build a business, here's how you find a client. Okay, now we're done. There's so much more that needs to be worked on and needs to be, built, and especially in your mindset as entrepreneurs. So that's what we're going to move into. We're going to create more programs around that. I'm committed, and part of my declaration is to love myself and be fully who I am. No fucks given. I do swear a lot. I do make mistakes. I do talk about the things that I screw up on. I do talk about vulnerable things. I'll tell you when things aren't going well. That's just part of who I am. I've always been that way. I am somebody who is, I'm going to say, super authentic and honest. And I will tell you because I think it's valuable to hear what other people are going through, because then you realize you're not alone. And if you can see me going through something and see me get to the other side and not let it hold me back, then that's inspiration for you. That's the whole point of sharing, right? So to fully love myself, put myself first, to have ridiculous, fierce boundaries around what I will do and what I won't do, what feels good to me and what doesn't. I declare to keep those boundaries and be solid in those things, because that's important. It's important to me. It's important to my family. It's important to my business. So I'm making that declaration. I also declare to make so much damn money that I can change the world with it. We get so fucking weird around money, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, why can't we talk about money? Money is just a tool. It's a thing we use to trade one thing for another. Money doesn't make you good or bad. Sure, there are bad people with money and there's great people with money, but it's money will amplify you for sure. If you're a bad person, you get lots of money, it's going to make you amplify that badness. If you're a good person, you get lots of money, it's going to amplify your beautiful heart. But money is just a thing. It doesn't have the power to do anything. We have the power. We're the ones internally who make the choices. Money is just a fucking tool. It's just a thing. But we give it so much freaking, we put it on this pedestal and it doesn't belong there. It's just a tool, just like this pen I'm holding is a tool, just like this paper is a tool, just like my phone is a tool. It's just a tool. We got to stop giving it so much power. So if we can talk about it and we can say, like, I want tons of money. I want tons of money because I want to do really cool shit with that money. I want to travel. I want to be able to take my family places. I want to buy a home. I want to live on the beach. Like, there's so many things I want to do with it. I want to help certain charities. I want to be able to, give it to people and help and use it to build my business and hire staff and do all of these things, hire a team. All of that stuff is all good shit, but I need money to do it. So for me to sit there and go, it's not about the money. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to help and serve. Yes, we are here to help and serve, of course. but it's also about making money and having having that choice. And so I'm committed to making a shit ton of it because I really want to do a lot of awesome stuff with it. And so I am done playing small around money. I want to have more experiences. I want to celebrate more. I want to live more. I want to look at my life. And here's the caveat to this. You've got to start doing this now before you have the money. You got to start loving your life now. You got to start celebrating things now. You got to start doing more experiences now in the ways that you can, and love your life now. And that will attract more. You don't wait for the money to do all these things. You start doing it now. That's a big one. So I'm loving my life now. I'm experiencing more now. I'm going to celebrate. I said to my husband the other day, I'm like, we need to celebrate more. Like even the little things. Every time he sells a painting, we're celebrating. Every time something, I had a new client sign up the other night for Voxer coaching, and I love her. And we're just Voxer coaching, monthly Voxer coaching. She just asks questions. I give her support. It's amazing. I celebrated the fact that she jumped in. She was ready to go. Like all of those little things, celebrate. When you grow out of your comfort, when you do something out of your comfort zone, celebrate. It doesn't mean you have to have balloons and champagne and go out for dinner every single time, but you can do something to celebrate the things and celebrate it and start, planning the next thing to celebrate. Right? And I also declare to hold my clients to the highest, most incredible versions of themselves, just like I am, to push them to be better, to push them to do more, to push them to get out of their comfort zones and start doing things that they know their soul is calling them to do. I had a really deep conversation today with actually both my clients. It's so interesting. I made this declaration on Monday. Today's Tuesday. No, maybe I did this Sunday night. It doesn't matter. Today's Tuesday. The 2 conversations I had with my private clients today were the most powerful conversations we've had since we started our coaching. And I don't think that is a coincidence. That is because this declaration has shifted something in me, and I want to have higher level conversations with my clients. And that's exactly what happened today. Higher level conversations. It's not a coincidence. Because if I want to be a higher caliber human and have a bigger, higher caliber business, be a better coach, a better wife, if I want to do that, it starts with me. And then that trickles into my clients, and then they get to be better. I get to be the example. They get to watch my expansion and then expand themselves. So it's already starting. I also declared to never give up on myself, my goals, and my intention, no matter how hard things get. No more quitting silently when things don't go the way I want it. You cannot build your business for other people. You cannot build your business to get external results. Trust me, I did that for years, and it's frustrating and it's hard, and you're on this roller coaster and it sucks because everything you do is based on what other people do. Your own happiness and your own fulfillment and your own success is based on whether other people say yes. Like that's exhausting. You build your business because you want to do this. You do the masterclass because this is what you want to talk about. You do this because this is what feels good to you. I mean, the Expand Mastermind, I want to do this. I'm excited to do this. I put it out to my email list. I put it out in a couple spaces. I haven't had anyone sign up yet, and I don't care because I'm going to keep talking and keep promoting it until there are 5 women ready to go because I want to do it, because I feel excited about it. And whether people say yes or no to me today doesn't matter because I'm going to keep going with it until. And I'm not going to feel bad about myself or feel like it's wrong or that it's, whatever, because I'm not getting the signups yet. It just hasn't landed on the right people yet. So keep going, right? So don't give up. I'm not giving up on myself when things get hard. And to declare that I am a force in this world, a voice for women in entrepreneurship so they can be their own powerful force too. Because you have to remember, as coaches, consultants, as people who are leading other people, the way that we show up is an example for others and gives them permission to show up that way also. So when you shine and you have these successes and you are a high caliber human and you run a business with boundaries and you make lots of money, you give permission for other people to do the same. And so this is my declaration, is to step into this higher caliber version of myself and make a higher caliber version of my business. Because I know that I'm meant for more, and the more is on the other side of me stepping into this person. To be a powerful woman, a powerful leader in this industry. And you guys are all going to witness it right here, because you're going to notice it on the podcast. You're going to notice it in my Facebook group. You're going to notice it when you coach with me. You're going to notice it in my programs. You're going to notice it on my Instagram. It's already happening. When you make a declaration, it's not just saying, oh, I'm going to do something. It's like a line in the sand that you are drawing and saying, this is now how things are going to be. It's a feeling. It's an energy. It's not just a nice to have. No, this isn't what I wrote in here. I wrote this first and felt it and then did it again on Instagram and still felt it. And I can still feel it while I'm doing this podcast. It's time to get out of your own way. If you are feeling this episode and you're feeling like, holy shit, I need to do this. I know there's more for me. What am I getting in my own way with? How can I start shifting this? It's time to look at those things. Have that hard conversation with yourself. Call out the things that you're doing that is stopping you from having the life that you want. Get out of your own way and take your life, take your business to levels that you can't even imagine yet. There are coaches out there. My coach was talking the other day and she had mentioned about, she had a $70,000 day. Now, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that there are people out there in this world who are willing to pay people to learn from them. They have problems that they want solved and they're willing to pay you to find out how to solve the problem, right? You have answers that people are looking for right now. And there is money to be made. And that money, that wealth, you can change the world with that. Look at Oprah. I mean, Oprah's done so many amazing things for this world. And it's because she's had choice. She's had the money to be able to do it. So get out of your own way and create levels of success in your life and your business that, like I said, you can't even imagine exist yet. But it all starts and ends with us. It's never anything external from you that creates results. It's about taking radical responsibility for yourself, your actions, your energy, your thoughts, your emotional intelligence. Don't give your power to external results. That's what I was doing. Giving my power away to everybody who said no. Everybody who said, not right now, this isn't for me, or unfollowed, or whatever. I would just be like, oh, this isn't working. Meh. Like, what am I doing? So I am taking radical responsibility for my own emotional intelligence and responding to things in a way that is going to serve me and my business and not hurt me and my business. And that is radical responsibility. And I can't freaking wait to see how it all adds up in the next who knows how long. Because that's what happens every time you take ownership, every time you hold a boundary, every time you stand in your power, every time you keep going when it gets hard. All of that stuff compounds. And it leads you to that next level and the next level and the next level. And you're going to look back and you won't even believe where you are. It's going to blow your fucking mind. And that's what I'm here for it. I'm here for it, whether you want to do it with me, whether we work together in a container and we expand together, whether you just follow me here in my Facebook group, on my Instagram, wherever it is. this is where I'm going, and I'm happy to move with whoever wants to move with me. So there you have it. Is it time for you to make a declaration for yourself in your business? Is it time for you to step up, take extreme ownership of what you've been doing? Are you ready for your next level? Are you ready to make that declaration? If so, write it out. Get a pen and paper. What are you tired of? What are you putting a full stop on? And what are you willing to step into? Make that declaration. And if you do, put it on Instagram. I mean, you can go see mine. It's the picture with the balloons. I got the pink and yellow balloons. If you do create a declaration on Instagram, I would love for you to tag me in it so I could read it and send you some love and cheer you on. And of course, as always, if you love this episode and you feel like this needs to be heard by somebody you know, please feel free to share it in your stories, share it with them. My goal is to get these words out to as many people as possible and help you guys, move and change your lives just like I am moving and changing mine. So that's it for me today, you guys. If you have any questions about anything I shared in here, whether it's what I shared, the programs I shared, the spaces and places where I show up, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Quantum Leap Queen. But that is it for me today. I hope you found this episode helpful and powerful, and I hope it moved you into your next level. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.